These cool weather flowers have germinated in just a few days. I just like doing things the efficient, easy way. I'm sure you do too. The balcony garden is still producing a good amount of food. God, I love sowing like this. Gorgeous germination rate. Damn, your girl knows how to say seeds. Draft of the contract has been sent for me to grow on a farm. I don't like being bamboozled or tricked because your girl has been bamboozled and tricked before. Jello. That's what I love so much about growing plants is you don't have to be an expert. Hi guys, welcome to CHELSGROWS. Let's go out in the balcony garden and see how our winter sown seeds are doing. In my last video, we sowed tons of seeds in these free recyclable containers and it's working. This is the Clarkia Emowina, the farewell to spring, and this is the calendula. These cool weather flowers have germinated in just a few days. I filmed that video about a week ago. Another thing that's done really well is this butterhead Australe lettuce. I will have to thin this out at some point, but so far, gorgeous germination rate. And also the kale. The kale has gone absolutely crazy. I sowed dino kale and dazzling blue kale, and it's doing so well. We're getting some germination on the Swiss chard. I sowed Swiss chard ruby red and Swiss chard celebration. So that's exciting. The snapdragons and the rudbeckia are still, you know, doing their thing. I won't be surprised if like a lot of things don't pop up for the next couple weeks, and that's okay. Because basically I just kind of want my balcony garden to just chill out until I'm back from Hawaii at the end of March. So in my opinion, this is going really well. My plan is also to hopefully, when I get back at the end of March, it depends. I might just plant these all out in clumps into the garden, or I might pick them out and put them in individual seed cells. I guess we'll just see. I honestly haven't thought that far ahead. I also wanted to show you guys the balcony garden is still producing a good amount of food from crops that I planted last year. Like the snap peas. I planted this, I think, at the end of August. It's still producing in March. As you can see, the parsley is doing so well. I've been putting this like in my scrambled eggs every morning. The kale is going to seed, so I think I'm gonna have this go to seed and I'll save them. The calendula I planted, I think also I planted this at the end of August, beginning of September of last year, and it's blooming. It's been a really warm winter here in the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, parsley, more kale going to seed, all of my kale is going to seed. Just really exciting. I don't know. I just feel like spring is in the air, you know? Here's some oregano. I love the smell of oregano. Oh my God. It smells like pizza. There's a lot of growth happening in the balcony garden. So sowing these seeds in these recyclable containers that I just had laying around has personally worked for me. As you can see, I've saved up more containers because I'm like, if this is how easy it is to start seeds, I'm just gonna keep doing it. Now I'm gonna go inside and let's start some more seeds. We're back inside. I have more takeout containers. We got takeout over the weekend, so I put these through the dishwasher and was like, I'm gonna use these because obviously seeds will just germinate really easily, it seems like, in this way in the Pacific Northwest. My last video, I showed you guys how I do this. I just drill holes in the bottom and the tops of these containers, and then I just sow the seeds. The end. And I just followed the instructions on the seed packets, and that's just how I do it. I don't know. I try not to overcomplicate these things. I think with gardening and growing food, there's a lot of people and a lot of like content creators who post how they grow food, right? Or how they grow crops, how they grow flowers. You don't need to know everything. You can just experiment. This was an experiment for me. I didn't know if I would get any germination, and then in a few days I got germination. So for me, all of my gardening experience has been through just trial and error. Like, just try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? your seeds don't germinate, maybe your crops fail, cool, try again. Like it's not a competition. You can grow and cultivate your garden how you want to, and I think that's the beauty. That's what I love so much about growing plants is you don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert. I've worked in some plant nurseries. I've grown a balcony garden for the past couple of years. That's it. Like, I don't have formal education in this. So if you missed my last video on kind of me explaining why I'm doing this and how these little takeout containers essentially become their own little greenhouses, I'll put that video up here and in the description so you can watch it and check it out. But in that video, I was like, this is an experiment. This is my winter sowing project. Now we know it works, so I'm gonna keep doing it because I'm going on vacation and I don't have the time or the resources to like baby seedlings that are under hot grow lights that will need to be watered every few days because I'll be gone for a week. Sweet, done. Another thing I love about this method is, one, these containers are just always around, right? You probably order takeout, you probably have these containers laying around. I live in an apartment complex, so the floor of our apartment has like a group recycling thing in like our garbage and recycling room. I took like fruit containers from that recycling thing and I just washed them really well. Drilling them with holes took me less than a minute. Things don't need to be complicated. I think a lot of people watch these like gardeners and they think, oh, gardening is just so complicated, but you can really just do it with things you have laying around. Do you know what I mean? I have my little binder. Remember when we organized this? If you missed that video, I'll link it, don't even worry. But I organized over 40 varieties in this binder. So today, we want to sow more cool crops because judging by the calendula and the Clarkia and Moena popping up so quickly and the lettuce, I'm like, okay, let's just keep sowing cool crops. And if you don't know your cool crops in your zone, like I'm in the Pacific Northwest, how I learned that is through books. I can I can do a video of like specifically Pacific Northwest Zone 8B. I have a couple books that I've checked out from the library and that I've bought that have helped me so much. It will take you month by month. So like if you want a video about that, let me know. Crops I want to sow is borage, and it's edible, and it also attracts tons of pollinators, which is definitely something I want in my garden. All these seeds I got are from Epic Gardening and Botanical Interests. I have a discount code with them, so if you're interested, it'll be in the description below. The next seed I'm gonna sow is this Paris Island Cos, this romaine lettuce. I've never grown romaine, so I'm excited for that. I've never grown cabbage, and I actually hear that growing Napa cabbage is pretty difficult. I've heard that from actually farmers in the area. So I'm like, oh, but I mean, I bought these seeds, I might as well try. So this is the 1 kilo slow bolt cabbage. Oh my gosh. This broccoli burgundy, purple sprouting broccoli. I've never had a purple broccoli, so that's exciting. How many crops can I sow today? If I split those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think I can sow 6 crops today. I'll do these mustard spinach tender greens. I've never had these before. I've never had this variety, and I haven't had the best luck growing spinach, but I read so many reviews on this particular variety and everyone was like, this was so prolific and productive, so I'm gonna try it. Remember the Clarkia and Moena seeds that I saved? This was like the first seed I've ever saved, and it was the first seed that popped up when I sowed it last week. So I'm like, damn, your girl knows how to save seeds. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want to do another, I'll do another herb or something. Let's do dill. Sow outside 1 to 2 weeks before your average loss frost date. Yeah, close enough. Close enough. We'll do dill. So how many varieties is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I just want to organize them. I'm putting the lettuce in this because the butter crunch lettuce germinated so quickly and amazingly in this container. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. Like lettuces in this because it just seemed like it worked really well. And then I'm gonna split some containers. So I'm gonna split this container, the purple sprouting broccoli, and then the cabbage. I'll split it down the middle. I got this from our recycling. It's just some old cardboard, and I'll split it that way. Then I'll keep the herbs together, the dill and the borage. I'll split that. There's a lot of these seeds, the mustard spinach, tender green, so this can get its own little container, why not? There we go. And we have our labels and our pen. All the tools that I use will be down in the description. Don't even worry about it, girl. The 5th of March. What the hell, girl? Botanical interest in epic gardening always say like, we recommend. You guys see that? It says we recommend sowing 4 to 6 weeks. Recommend sowing outside 4 to 6 weeks before your average loss frost date. I'm considering this sowing them outside because I'm not starting them in a warm environment inside. I'm doing this on a tray. I said this in the last video, like it's so much cleaner and easier to do things on trays. This tray is from GreenStalk. It comes with their seed starting kit, and it comes with this huge tray that you can bottom water plants on. You can work. This is like my tray of choice to work on because it's so big and nice. If you missed my video where I show you how to make my seed starting mix, it is in the description. This is pretty shallow. Shallow. In my last video, I told you guys like it's best practice to wet down your media before you sow your seeds. I'm actually going to bottom water these just so I can show you guys an example of like how I bottom water my seedlings and my plants, because I told you guys I would, you know? I was like, I'm gonna show you guys that in another video. So this is the video. So we're not gonna wet down our media. We'll just bottom water everything. Okay, so for this mustard spinach, seed depth, 1/4 inch. Cool. I'm sure you guys have seen people, if you've watched a lot of gardening people, they'll like do neat little rows and stuff. You can, and I probably should, but I'm a big person of just like broadcast the seeds, cover it with a bit more soil, and then just see how it goes. And so far, that strategy for me, sowing this way, has worked. You know, I got germination out of it. So many seeds, literally hundreds of seeds. So we won't sow all those seeds because my calendula from last year, the seeds that I saved, germinated so well. So I'm like, you do not need to use all your seeds in one season. Don't do that. You're just using too many seeds. We'll cover it with a bit more media on top. And yes, you can use potting soil for this. I just don't really like using potting soil. I've explained why in my DIY seed starting mix video. Don't worry, I'm watching YouTube in the back. I like to push on the media so there's like really good contact with the seed and the soil. I will give it a spritz so that top layer really gets some good moisture and water. Like I said, we will bottom water everything at the same time at the end. So stay tuned for that. And it's a really easy way to water. Mustard seeds done. God, I love sowing like this. Yes, I will use my indoor seed starting setup. I don't know. I just like doing things the efficient, easy way. I'm sure you do too, you know. Next, we will do the Paris Island Cos Romaine. I'm starting a lot of leafy greens this year, so I hope I'll be able to obviously harvest something. Oh, I do have an update on where I'll be growing this year, but I have a feeling I might want to do like a whole separate video for that. It's exciting. The opportunity I have is, I'm being weird about it because I haven't signed anything yet. A draft of the contract has been sent to me. I do have other questions and stuff. So that's where we're at. A draft of the contract has been sent for me to grow on a farm on 1/8 of an acre, which is like, wow, holy crap, in my neighborhood, which is another like, holy crap. But until I sign something, that's when I'll let you guys know, because I don't like speaking in hypotheticals. I'll talk about it once it's signed, sealed, delivered, once the ink is dry. Seed depth, surface to 1/8 of an inch. So when you get lettuce seeds, you will get so many that you don't even know what to do with. That just means you'll have years worth of seeds. I'm literally probably using 10% of the seeds that they sent. 20-ish seeds in here. That's way too many. I'm going to have to thin them out or prick them out and put them into their own cells at some point. But that's a later problem for me, you know? Seeds are on the top. Do you guys see? I push the seeds into the media and then I put just a sprinkle on top. I didn't make a label. This is done. So you see, guys, we have already sowed 3 different crops. Or was that the second crop? That was the second crop. This next container, we will sow our herbs, borage, and dill. I'm gonna split the container in half. I'm just using this old tea container thing. You can use whatever. Or you don't even have to split the container. I just like to do it. That's how I split the container. It's not rocket science. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. We'll make tags, borage, dill. Seed depth, 1/8 of an inch. Pressing into their surface to 1/8 of an inch deep. Okay, so similar to the lettuce seeds. What about the borage? Quarter to 1/2 inch. Okay. Dill is really easy to grow. You can even I just direct sowed dill last season in my garden and it grew beautifully and the flowers were beautiful. Oh my God. Is this just normal for Epic Gardening and Botanical Interest to give you 1 million seeds? Like, I'm not gonna need this many seeds. I took the dill out of my garden before it went to seed last season. It didn't reseed everywhere, but that is something I see a lot of gardeners say, is that it'll reseed very easily, as you can see. And then it says 1/8 of an inch. So I'm pushing it in. I'm also just gonna put a little bit more media on top and that's it. And that's all she wrote. And then for the borage, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch seed depth. Ooh, these are really pretty seeds. This is another plant that kind of can take over your garden. I saw Epic Gardening actually just posted that, yes, this is a really good plant to garnish. It's a beautiful edible flower and to making teas and stuff, and really good for pollinators. But they did warn on their channel that it can take over. So I'm planning on just putting it on the borders of my garden when I set up my garden. Yes, we'll be in the balcony garden, but we'll have more news soon. I'm hoping I have something signed because, like I said, the contract they sent was just a draft. And I have more questions. I'm a girl who asks questions. I like knowing what I'm getting myself into. I don't like being bamboozled or tricked, because your girl has been bamboozled and tricked before. I like to know what I'm getting myself into. I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. Okay, cool. Dill and borage, done. And our last crops we're gonna sow is the Napa cabbage, slow bolt Napa cabbage, and the broccoli burgundy. Again, I've never grown these crops before, so I don't know how they'll do, But I do hear that it is potentially easier to grow these crops, this broccoli and the cabbage, as like a fall crop or like as an overwintered crop. So I'm gonna try it this spring and see how it goes. And if it, I don't want to be negative and be like, I'm expecting it to fail, but I won't be surprised if I have difficulties with it and a lot of pest pressure with it. I'll be happy if they come. I won't be shocked if the crops failed this spring. So, okay, these come in a little separate thing. I'm assuming that means there's not that many of these seeds, so I kind of have to be careful. There really isn't that many of these seeds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's about 11 of these seeds. I think I should only do a half. Yeah, I'll only do half of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or should I do all of or should I just do all of them? No. I'll do 5. You know, I always do forget that these become full ass plants that need tons of room, you know? So those seeds are there. I kind of forgot where I put them, but that's all right. Hopefully those just germinate. Okay, so maybe the same for the Napa cabbage. I wonder if there's not that many seeds in this one. Oh no, these ones have more. Cool. So for this, oh yeah, these ones have a good amount. Really pretty seeds. I just dropped seeds. Hello. Just dropping money on the ground. It just got really nice all of a sudden. Wow. I'm gonna go on a walk after this. Then we'll get ready to bottom water all of these containers. Okay, now we're gonna bottom water all of these containers. So it's really simple. All you need is a tray. I'm using the same tray that I've been using. Water. I put water in the tray before I put the plants in. And I try to get it the tray pretty full. You know how we didn't water in the media before we planted? Whoa, this is like a mermaid effect. This is really pretty, actually. Whoa, okay. We didn't water the media before we sowed our seeds. I feel like that happens a lot where people just forget. So you don't have to freak out. I will just bottom water. So I'll take the container. Remember, all our containers have holes on the bottom. I'll place it into the tray with the water. And that's it. That's how you bottom water. That's literally, the name says it itself. Water is being absorbed from the soil from the bottom. The soil or whatever media that you're watering will just take on however much it needs. For me, I love watering this way because I don't have to worry about like, am I over watering it? Am I under watering it? In my experience, when I've bottom watered any plant, it gets the amount of water it needs. So for how long I'll have this sit, I'll have it sit for probably like 15, 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes, but I'll just like come around and check the tops. Once the top of the soil looks watered and saturated, then it's fine. That's how you bottom water. This is how I bottom water. I'm sure I'll get someone in the comments being like, that's wrong, you're doing it wrong. Well, it's always worked for me, so this is how I do it. So it's been about 20 minutes of these being bottom watered, and I'll show you, like when you lift it, you'll be like, oh, this is like, it's heavy, which it should be, because you want it completely fully watered, because I don't want to water these often. That's the goal, is just to water these. I haven't even watered the ones that I sowed a week ago. I don't know if I'll even have to water them, but if I water them, it'll be this way, bottom watering. The top of the media is like completely saturated, which is what we want. So I'm gonna say that these are good to go on the balcony. So these will be like dripping. So I always just put them in another tray to kind of drain off. The top is watered through. Yep, and I'll feel it too. Feels very, very watered. And I like bottom watering for seed starting is because you don't like, if you water in seeds, I just feel like they get kind of thrown around everywhere. So this is just a way gentler way to water your seeds. Now we can put these on the balcony. It honestly always amazes me how much stuff I can squish into this 40 square foot balcony. I'm gonna put these right behind you, but I'll show you where I put them. So I've just put them right here. They should be good to go. But with these ones that have germinated, like the Clarkia amoena and the calendula, since they've already germinated, I think I'm just gonna leave the top off to kind of air out. I've done the same for the lettuce because once the seeds germinate, you don't need that like as much heat or protection, and you actually want the seeds and the seedlings to get way more oxygen. Otherwise, they'll just get suffocated. So here are the new little seeds. We'll track them and we'll see how they do. Just wanted to prove to you guys that you can start your seeds basically for free. I mean, you have to buy the seeds. You'll have to buy whatever media you're growing in. I make my own, but you can start them in recyclable containers, even if people tell you in the comments that it's not possible. You can start your seeds like this throughout the whole year. It doesn't even have to be right now. I think I'm going to continue to start my seeds like this the whole year because it's easy. So freaking easy. So if you've learned something new, please like and subscribe to my channel and let me know where you're growing this month in March. I'm so excited for the spring and the summer. We're gonna have a really good growing season. Love you, mean it. See you soon.